Then there's the area around distribution, so multiple tiers of distribution. So how do I work through distributors or retailers to get my products delivered? And as we talked earlier, then how do I reach that kind of utopic end goal of can I actually create a direct channel to my end consumer and really have an interesting experience where my mobile applications are there when they have an impulse to buy, right? And I can actually influence that decision to buy very affordably and move that interaction forward. And then across the top line, I'd say this is kind of driving your business, right? Where we look at, analytics as part of your business mobilely. How do I supply analytic information in dashboards, embedded into business processes so I can help my employees make better decisions with insight into how it's going to affect their business, their budgets, their top line revenue. And then obviously a set of great productivity tools that you can supply for all of your employees, right? To help them with, purchase orders, help them drive business processes and approve those business processes. Travel and expense, things like that are very interesting and valuable for our customers. So this is kind of the landscape that we look at when we talk to customers, and this is the type of customer that we have a lot of that have 200 plus projects that they're driving and looking to unify that mobile strategy. The types of, I think, just to kind of go through 3 dimensions, one about applications, then about what are those applications what are their kind of types or their models, and then talk a bit about devices from what we're seeing from customers. So we've kind of broken the user categories for applications into 3 buckets. One is process workers, right? So these are people who are driving sales and service, asset management, warehouse workers, Historically, these would be ruggedized devices, right? Like a Symbol or an Intermac device that you're using out in the field. A fit for purpose, scanners, barcode readers, things like that would be available on these devices for these users. Moving forward, we're seeing a lot of drive towards Android devices in this space, right? New ruggedized Android devices, cheaper form factors. So I think we'll continue to see an uptick in that area. Knowledge workers, so that's pretty much any employee in your company who's dealing with analytical information, trying to drive business processes forward, things of that nature. And then as we look out into the consumer space, what are some of the interesting industries that we're seeing consumer opportunities for mobile? One is around e-care, so providing a mobile solution that allows a chronically ill patient, someone with diabetes or heart disease or something like this, who needs to track and monitor, their blood sugar levels or their blood pressure, submit those in to a portal mobily, and then interact with their healthcare professionals through that submission of information, receive new diet plans, new medication ideas, things that will keep them on track and provide better health. Certainly an interesting area that we see. Governments are very interested in how do I interact with my citizens, right? How can I provide cheaper services more rapidly through the use of mobilization? And then some other areas that are clearly on a very rapid pace would be around mobile banking and remittances, so payments, primarily in the telco and the banking industry, but will begin to spread to retail and CP companies looking to capture and keep loyal customers. So when we look at the application paradigms, as you look across what can I do with a mobile device, they go from very simple things like being able to do a lookup or a workflow item across your enterprise backend systems to kind of more complex solutions that may be fit for purpose for a particular type of user, like a CRM user or an analytics dashboard user, management, senior management, people that you want to provide this information at their fingertips and drive that forward. To then even the complete offline, logic for very complex applications. But the thing that we're now seeing trending across all these applications type is they can all be delivered using kind of what we call consumer grade look and feel. Very easy to use, simple applications that require little to no training to get someone up to speed. And then maybe the kind of the final paradigm that our customers are facing is kind of this map where there are just thousands of devices coming into the marketplace during the course of this year and into next year. And not all these devices are necessarily what you would consider pure end-user mobile devices. They're inboard car systems, telematic capabilities, where I have my mobile device, and when I get in the vehicle, you know, I want it to interact with my mobile device and take me, you know, where I want to go. Have all my contacts, you know, all my accounts. If I'm a service professional, you know, have my route loaded, take me where I want to go with my navigation system. Record all of my miles, right, or my kilometers, so that I don't have to, and it's automatically submitted as part of the work order. So these types of conveniences and processes are definitely happening throughout the industry. We work with a lot of big German car manufacturers, and this is top of mind for them, is, you know, how do we really make this convenient and beneficial and create that dialogue through that. Other things like a lot of smart meters, a lot of IP-connected devices are coming online, which mobility will need to interact with. Those will be sending signals to central servers that will then be routing to, you know, service professionals or homeowners to let them know what's happening with their utilities or their supplies or alerts. So a lot of monitoring devices on there. And I think we'll continue to see this just drive more and more interactions required across the globe, and mobile can play a big role in interacting with those. And then finally, I think the one dynamic that our enterprise customers are starting to realize is if you look at the history of enterprise software, you know, we've spent tens of billions of dollars building solutions for one thing and one thing only, and that's a PC, right? A laptop, maybe, right? But a PC. And what we're seeing now is a shift towards a user-centric model. So in other words, instead of always trying to figure out how do I get my employee to a PC so they can do the functions that I want them to do, I'm trying to figure out how can I get my functions and my capabilities to them, right? Whatever device they have, wherever they are in the world, you know, can I get them the information they need to interact, take action, and be more productive? And so we're really seeing now this user-centric, you know, approach to the market and to how we can interact with these mobile consumers. Secondarily, we want to react to the mobile consumer, right? Or we want to react to the mobile user, right? Where are they? How do I react to the mobile person instead of constantly pushing information out? I should start to realize where they are, what they're trying to do. How can I anticipate? What's the next piece of information they'll need so I can create efficient communication with the mobile device based on where they are, right? And I can react more accurately and more effectively and make them more effective and accurate. So we're seeing a huge trend from our customers as to, well, how do I make this happen? You know, how do I make an iPhone application look like it should on the iPhone, right? I mean, there's lots of talk about HTML5 and providing a way for you to build one app and deploy across 4 or 5 platforms, and that's true. You can do that for some applications. But you're going to find a very stubborn user base here who's very used to the applications they're downloading from their store, right, in a consumer basis. And they're going to be pretty demanding that, you know, if you don't have an app that looks and feels like an iPhone app or looks and feels like a BlackBerry app, as I would expect it to, you're going to have an issue with user adoption. So there's something to be thought about around focusing on that user, providing an interaction model that they're comfortable with and that they expect on those devices. So maybe I'll talk a little bit now about kind of consumer, and I'll finish up here and let my colleagues speak next. But talk about mobile services and how do we reduce this complexity? And maybe talk about it in 4 areas, right? So one area that we see these services coming on is starting to help you market. So how do I push offers? How do I utilize SMS or utilize the mobile device as a way to get information about my products out? And so we're seeing a lot of uptake, and I'll walk through some examples here of how people are using SMS and using just the baseline pieces, you know, to mobilize parts of the world. Then we clearly have a need to create transaction capability on these mobile devices. So I want to be able to buy things with my mobile device, right? I want to be able to sell things and receive payments onto my mobile device. And in many parts of the world, in the BRIC countries especially, this is where they are. This is where they're going to stay, right? And drive this to whole new levels. Once I've kind of created this market and this transaction capability with my consumer, with my mobile user, how can I then strengthen it, create loyalty programs, create offers that entice and keep my mobile consumer loyal? And then finally, on top of that, how do I provide business intelligence to the people that are trying to create these programs, drive this success of the business through understanding what's working and what's not working, and turn on those things that are working or put more effort and energy around those, and the ones that don't work, just you can turn them off. The commerce revolution is really transformative. It's creating new value for customers, new channels to market, new ways to interact with your thing. It's empowering consumers. Retailers and CP companies are keen on this because they're really able to reach somebody when they're in the process of purchasing products, right? Of shopping in a retail outlet. How can I know they're there, right? I certainly can't know it on an internet application that's in their house, but I can now interact with their mobile device. I can understand where they are if they've opted into my programs. How can I entice them to opt in so I can make offers and drive this revolution? I mean, mobility reaches over 5 billion people today, right? And looking at the consumer side of the world, 100+ billion transactions will be mobilized in 2011. If you look at that, it's amazing. Companies like Amazon, Facebook, eBay, all of these guys are going from their online approach to online plus mobile, right? So it's a big, big trend forward. And there'll be lots of then capabilities that our enterprise customers can leverage in this marketplace. And then if you look at just on the financial services side, I think it's very interesting as we talk to many, many banks about how do they mobilize their transactions, their interactions with their customers, creating cost reduction, creating convenience, reducing fraud, utilizing the device for all of these capabilities. Estimated that over 90 million people in the US alone this year will do a mobile transaction. So these are big numbers and big shifts. So mobility is growing probably 5 times faster than client server, than the internet did. And part of that is due to the fact that it's so convenient and it's so easy to use for the consumer. So if you look at loyalty, here's a customer example, Pampers. I mean, the thing that I try to stress with this one is this is a very, very simple application, right? A mother has a child, right? They get an offer to opt in to a mobile program, kind of just adding things like the name of their child, the date of birth, and their contact information through their mobile device. Then what Pampers or Johnson & Johnson does in this case is they send offers to that mother at these anniversary points when they're going to switch from one diaper model to the next, right? Small to big, whatever it is. And so it's a really simple application, but it has huge power for them, right? 60% retention rate for anybody who opted in versus their other population. So simple apps can have a very powerful effect in this market. And maybe just leave you with this kind of last thought about impact today for 2011. $300 billion in retail impact around mobility, right? So lots of money is being spent in mobility. Lots of companies have large trade products and promotion management systems where they spend tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on couponing, on trying to outreach to their consumers, and now are really seeing mobile as a new channel that's very efficient, very cost effective, and will have a huge impact moving forward.